Hey guys, how's it going? I don't know if you have seen this movie yet. It's an old movie, it's from the 80s. It's called They Live. And in the movie, if you haven't seen it, you really should. It's a classic. It's really good. But anyway, um in the movie there's this guy that um he finds these glasses, and when he puts the glasses on, he can see that these seemingly normal people suddenly change appearance and they look like, I don't know, like aliens or something. Um, and anyway, he discovers that they have pretty much taken over the planet and they have all this technology and they're like traveling to and from their other planetary system or whatever. Anyway, um, and they've turned us all into their slaves. Okay, but then at the end of the movie, he discovers this satellite dish that is, I guess, emanating like a frequency that is allowing their image technology to work. So they have this, somehow they're able to cloak themselves and make themselves look human when really they're not. And the cloaking technology is some type of light bending technology. And it's kind of like that movie, The Arrival. If you haven't seen this, you should, check this one out too. It shows these aliens that are using this light technology to cloak their appearance and make them appear human when they're really not. So it's kind of the same idea. But anyway, in this movie, he discovers that the frequency is coming from a satellite dish. So he shoots the satellite dish, destroys the satellite dish, and then all of a sudden, all of these aliens that are just, disguising themselves as human then become visible, and everybody realizes, you know, um, who they are. But what I wanted to tell you is that I think that that's exactly what the Bible is describing. So just show you what I mean. Um, the word apocalypse, it means the removal of the veil. So, like if you go to Revelation 1 and you look at this word revelation, the Greek word is apocalypsis, and it means the disclosure of the truth concerning things before unknown, withdrawn from view, are made visible to all, to be revealed. And it stems from this word apocalypto, which basically means the same thing, to lay open what has been veiled or covered up, to reveal. And it, when you break this down into the two separate words, it literally means apo, and apo means separation, and kalupto means veil. So the word apocalypse literally means to separate from the veil. Okay, so as I explained in my other video, the entire book of Revelation, which means apocalypse and literally means separation from the veil. The entire book of Revelation, the title of the book itself, means the removal of the veil. And in the study that I've done recently, I show that the Great Tribulation, um, that the start of the Great Tribulation happens in Revelation 12, and that the seven trumpets and the seven plagues happen at the end of the tribulation. Okay, the veil is described also in Isaiah 25. And it says that in verse 7, Isaiah 25, verse 7, he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. So there's some kind of covering or some kind of veil that's covering everyone. And it shall be in that day, this is verse 9, and it shall be in that day, we have waited for him and he will save us. So in my other videos, I've proved with scripture that the escape comes at the beginning of the Great Tribulation, at the start of the Great Tribulation. And we know that from Revelation 12 and Daniel 12 and Matthew 24, 15 through 22. And this is confirming that. Isaiah 25 is confirming that. It's saying that when the veil is removed, when the veil is destroyed, we will escape. He will save us. Okay. We also know from Revelation 12 that when that escape happens, and it's right here, the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of God that they should feed her there 1,260 days. That's 1,260 days. It's the period of time of the tribulation. I'm sorry, the Great Tribulation. So the escape happens, and then there's a great war in heaven, and the dragon or the serpent is cast out to earth. Okay, here's the thing. So in another video that I made, I show that there's a satellite network called Satan, Satellite Automatic Tracking Antenna Network. And that's what's being described in Revelation 12, verse 9. It says this satellite network is cast out into the earth. Okay. What if the satellite network is the mechanism by which they are using this image technology? Then that would make sense, and that would go along with Isaiah 25, where it says he will destroy the veil. Okay. But we have to look closer at this veil thing. So we also know that Moses used the veil. So in Exodus 34, 29 through 35, I did a study on this. It's very interesting when you look at the meanings of these words themselves. It says, when Moses came down from the mountain with the Shana. Well, Shana means disguise, to bear witness, eduth. Okay, and it says that he was revealed, yada, and his skin was exposed, ur, and his presence, panim, grew horns, karan. And the children of Israel were afraid to come to him when they saw that, basically. And then down here in verse 34, it says, but when Moses went in before the Lord to speak with him, he took the veil off. But when he came out, and spoke to the children of Israel, and the children of Israel saw the panim, the presence of Moses, that the skin was exposed of Moses, and the presence grew horns. Then Moses put the veil upon his presence again until he went in to speak with him. So it's basically saying that Moses used some type of veil to cover his presence when he was with the Israelites. But when he went up to God, he removed the veil. Okay. the the image is the serpent itself. Okay, when it talks about the serpent, it's talking about the image. So in Genesis 3, I'll show you what I mean. Genesis 3 right here says the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. When you look at this word serpent, the word is nakash and it means image. When you go to Revelation 12 and look at the word serpent, right down here in verse 9, that old serpent, this is the Greek word and it's ophis, and it stems from the word optonomai, which means to allow oneself to be seen, to appear. So the word serpent in both the Greek and the Hebrew have this connection to an image or an appearance. So I did a word study on Genesis 3, and I was blown away when I discovered what this is, one of the translations of what this is saying. And I have a video on this as well, and it's linked below in the description box. But it basically says that the image that came out of the image that fell out, Haya, was more crafty than any sustenance of the spread out, which the Yahweh had acquired. Spread out could mean space. So it could be saying that this image technology was the most crafty sustenance that came out of space. And it says down here in verse 5, for Elohim knows that in the day you use the provision thereof, then your appearance or your presence shall blossom, and you shall be as gods, be perceived beautiful and favored. And when the Ish saw that the shaft was agreeable, why the shaft was agreeable, and that it was desirable to the appearance, and a shaft to be desired to make one prosper, they took of the reward and used the provision, and permitted also their mortal servant with them. And they did use the provision, and the appearance of them blossomed, and they lived a distinguished manner of life. I go into much more detail in that other video. It's linked below if you want to see it. Genesis 3, the shaft that changed their appearance. So Genesis 3 is describing a technology, an image technology. It says the image, the serpent, the one that went to them to say, no, this is going to make you beautiful. This is going to make you appear beautiful. That image, the serpent is the image. So it could also be the serpent is using the image or using the technology. But the word serpent itself has connections to this word image. So in Revelation 12, it's saying that the image deceived the whole world, because in 12 verse 9 it says, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, which is the image. It stems from the word meaning image right here, optonomai, which means appearance. And the appearance which deceiveth the whole world, he was cast out into the earth. So there's multiple layers that go on in these scriptures, and they mean so many different things. There's not just one correct meaning. There's all these different layers of meaning. And this could be one of them. And it could have something to do with SATAN, the satellite network that NASA has. It could have something to do with that. So when it says in Isaiah 25 that the Lord will destroy the face of the covering cast over all people, and then again in Revelation 12:9 that the serpent or the image or the SATAN satellite network, which deceived the whole world, was cast out. That could be the same thing that we're talking about. That this image technology could be the veil itself, the veil that is spread over all nations, the deception which deceives the whole world, this image technology that deceives the whole world, that Genesis 3 says is a shaft that causes their appearance to blossom and allows them to prosper, and it deceives the whole world. So that could be what is being described here. And I just thought it was amazing because this movie is kind of tells that very story of him shooting the satellite dish at the end and then it suddenly goes down. But the other thing that I just wanted to bring up, also Revelation 13, which talks about the image of the beast. And it says that the beast told them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So that's really interesting because, most people would read this and think, okay, it's going to be some type of, well, they think, well, it must be some type of holographic technology, but they think it's going to be some type of statue or something. And that actually may be true. I mean, maybe that will really happen as well, but to me I think, wait a minute, this is too much here. And I think this image might actually be the same thing as the shaft that's described in Genesis 3 that changed their appearance. The technology that is described, the serpent itself that is the image or that uses the image. So I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out there as food for thought. Um, and it looks like because Revelation 12 is connected to Daniel 12 and Matthew 24:15 through 22, all of that put together, and I explain this in my other videos linked below in the description box, all of that put together indicates that at the start of the Great Tribulation is when this image technology is cast down, when this satellite network is cast down, and the deception is taken away. But I mean, I'm sure you can imagine that there would be chaos, there would be confusion and chaos once people realize how widespread this image technology is being used. I mean, they won't recognize the people that they were with. So, I mean, not everybody, but some people are going to be in a situation where they're not going to recognize the people around them because those people were using image technology. So, I mean, you can only imagine how stressful that could be. I mean, Jesus called it the Great Tribulation. And, I mean, a lot of that, there's more to it than just that. I mean, everybody gets the microchip. And the thing about it, I talked about an electromagnetic pulse in my last video last week about how an electromagnetic pulse could be what happens at the start of the tribulation. And this idea goes right along with that it could be that this satellite network is cast down by an electromagnetic pulse, so that not only does their frequency, not only is the frequency destroyed that allows them to use this technology, but also the electricity, all the electricity and the shipping and everything would be shut down, so that there would be so many different things going on that it could be that the escape would go completely unnoticed. When I say escape, I'm talking about the rapture. I'm talking about the first escape of the bride, when the bride goes to the safe place in heaven. At that escape, there could be so much chaos going on because of the electromagnetic pulse and also the disabling of the image technology, that people could be so confused about what was going on. Some people are going to FEMA camps. But at the same time, if this image technology goes down, then they're going to think that their friends, there are going to be people that are using this image technology that they don't there's going to be humans that have befriended the people that are using the image technology. And so they're going to find themselves confused when the image technology goes down and they don't recognize their friend. Then it's just going to be chaos and confusion. But see, that could be another thing that it could explain how the escape goes unnoticed, because then people will think, well, maybe that person that's missing was someone that was using the image technology. You know what I mean? Anyway, I know it might seem a little, some people are probably just going to laugh and think, okay, that's funny. But I kind of feel like, okay, but yeah, that really could be what's coming up, at the start of the Great Tribulation. So it might be, I mean, just, I don't know, Jesus said it was going to be really bad. So I tend to think, yeah, that would be really bad to find out that everything you thought was real is not real anymore. And everything is taken away. It would basically be like having all the pleasures in your life taken away all at once, you know? Um, so I don't know. I mean, it's just an idea. I'm just throwing it out there. But yeah, I mean, check those movies out if you haven't seen them, because this one movie, I mean, it just basically tells the story of what I just described is seems to be in the Bible. I mean, that seems to be what the Bible is saying will happen. So I don't know. I hope you guys are doing well, and I'll let you go. I'll talk to you later. All right, bye bye.